Hi guys, I'm Lakshmi Anand, and today we're gonna follow up on the last video, which I think you all probably had questions from, about forgiving yourself, other people, etc., and actually changing your reality through the process of Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian technique for radical self-acceptance and acceptance of the 3D. I'm not going to call it reality because I don't believe in pretty much all the major manifestors or manifesting teachers will tell you, and all the sacred knowledge will tell you, and many philosophies like the Aboriginals and Buddhists and Hindus will tell you that, and many other philosophies and theories will tell you that this is not reality. Carl Jung stated that this is, as well as many other uh, philosophies and theories we just stated, will tell you that this is a reflection. The 3D, the third dimension, is a reflection of your inner state. And it is not only a reflection, but it is a past reflection. So it is not even current. It lags. It's slow, it's dense, just like everything that is big, slow, and dense, like elephants or whales or things like that. They're slow, they lag. And so it takes time for the actual reality, which the kingdom of God, if you will, is within you. And it is within, I'm not going to say in the brain, in the mind, but it is inside you, not in your body necessarily, and we'll get into that in another topic, but it is in you. Reality is in you. It's the kingdom of God. And don't get flabbergasted by the reference to God, because we're not talking about fundamentalist form idea of God either. You are part of God. You are God. Just like this is like, if I wish to say my body, this is, my finger is part of me, and it's my finger, but it is still me, right? It's my body. It's part of the whole. So, and you are part of the whole, and the whole is in you, and you are in the whole. Anyway, so going back to Ho'oponopono, radical acceptance of self and others and the third dimension and the universe, multiverses, radical acceptance of things as they are, time and space. So this is really key. This is key in accepting the path that you've been given or are on or chose, is more appropriate to say. This is very important to going to the next step in your path, moving on from what you're seeing, what you're experiencing now, and moving on to something that you would prefer. So that is the Hawaiian, it is a Hawaiian philosophy, and the short of it is, and this is, I'm sure it's kind of a superficial version of it even. It goes much deeper with the original teacher. And we can explore that if you want to. Let me know if you want to go further into this by putting it in the comment section. But first off, you're probably pretty frustrated with your situation. If you love somebody, a specific person, you love somebody who is unwell, addicted, abuses some kind of substance, maybe alcohol, or is unwell with depression or a personality disorder, or has anxiety. So, if you love somebody or are the person yourself, and so I have both people, I'm sure, watching my channel, and this is for people that are addicted or are having problems with substance abuse, not necessarily addicted maybe, but you're having some issues, and those people that love them. Both can watch, but you know, it is really important for both sides of this, the people on both sides of this the fence, to practice radical acceptance, and that somehow you have signed up for this path. And please, I don't send hate mail. If you don't mind, I'll probably just I don't know, depends on what you say, if this is triggering, but it's important, since you chose this path, that to practice radical acceptance. So with yourself, if you've been hurt, with the other person, and when you accept something as the 3D is showing it to you, or as they are showing it to you, you will practice radical acceptance of the situation as it appears, because it's an appearance. It is not reality. It is an appearance for the purpose of learning. So how we can do this is, first off, we want to not just say the words, but we want to mean it. So we will say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you for the opportunity to see. Just thank you. Now let me explain the reasons. So let's say that again. So, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And thank you. Why do we say these things? Is that maybe it's maddening to you? Why do I have to say these things? Why am I going to say I'm sorry, right? They did this and they did that, right? Well, there's reasons. Because what anybody is showing you at any given time is a reflection. They're showing you what is currently in your shadow world, in your subconscious. And this is a gift, and I know it does not feel like it, but it is showing you your inner state. Not that, okay, so if you're seeing an alcoholic, doesn't necessarily mean you're an alcoholic, right? However, it could be showing you that you may be addicted in some way. Now, hold on. All right. So, we say, why are we saying we're sorry? So, we're saying we're sorry for perceiving somebody in a certain way. There's great power in perception and the way that we see things. Anything here in the third dimension is not real. If it is changeable, it is not real. That's the term we're using. So anything you can see, hear, feel, taste, touch is not real, in that it is impermanent. Everything here goes back, rusts, and turns back to dust, right? So it's not real. It's not eternal. So the closest we can get is perception to what is real right in this plane. Okay? So what we're saying sorry for is our in perceiving somebody a certain way, we have participated in the appearance of that thing. In the appearance, because our eyes don't actually see, they perceive. Now do your research on this. You can go to the scientists. Eyes do not really see, and as a matter of fact, our senses do not really sense. Believe it or not, they perceive, they interpret vibration, frequency, energy. So this goes really deep in the rabbit hole, okay? All right. Bear with me. So we're saying when we perceive somebody a certain way, if we don't perceive them as completely whole, healthy, abundant, at their highest and best, we are participating in the perception of whatever is going on. We've attracted that, we've manifested it in our third dimension, not reality. It's not reality. In our experience, it is an experience. It is an experience. And so we participated in it. We participated in their illness. We participated in creating that with them. You know, you can take the phrase where two or more are gathered, there I am amongst them. When two agree upon things, it's a creation. Now you can, there's power when two or more agree. I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera somehow. So if you change your idea about them in your kingdom, which is your kingdom in the electric mind of the kingdom, or the electric kingdom of the mind, then you are going to help them transform by holding the highest version of them, the whole version of them. So let's leave that there for now. Please, if you have questions, just put it in the comments. I'm sure, you know, it's a radical acceptance of responsibility for your manifestations, for your perceptions. But you have great power. You don't realize how powerful you are. This is part of this is the path of remembering who you are if you choose it. Now you will choose it ultimately, but you can delay that choice. You have free will. You have free will to choose when you're going to complete a lesson or engage in a lesson, but you don't have free will not to ultimately take the lesson. Does that make sense? You can just elect when you're going to take it, because it's all done. Anyway, that's another video. So creation is done. That's another video. If you want to hear about it, you know, we can get into it. All right. So let's go on to the next part. So you said, I'm sorry. Please, and you're asking for forgiveness. Please, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So you're asking for forgiveness. So that means you're going to change. You're just not saying, you're not just saying, oh, I'm sorry. Like don't you just hate it when somebody says I'm sorry and they just do the same daggone thing again? Really making amends is what it is. It means that you're amending your behavior. You're going to mend your behavior. So you're asking for forgiveness so that you change your behavior here's your behavior. Here's where it starts in your mind. I'm just pointing here because it's convenient, but our minds are not really local. Our minds are functions of the brain, if you will, and the wholeness of our being. Another topic, if you want to know more about it, please make a comment. So we're asking for forgiveness, so that means we're going to start to change our perception. So we've said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, and you're going to send good vibrations. I love you. You're reminding yourself that you love them. Now, love is patient. Love is kind. Love is long suffering. So if I'm frustrated with somebody because they're not doing what I want them to do so that I can be comfortable and feel loved and feel nurtured or have an easier life, then that's actually me. That's my problem. Because guess who's having, if I'm having a problem, guess who's got the problem? Me. I've got the problem. I'm not telling you to stick around for abuse. I'm not saying that. As a matter of fact, I can tell you many stories of situations I've left when it was not what I preferred or wanted or felt safe in, okay? So love also does not mean you tolerate abusive situations. Actually, that's attachment. That is, and codependency. That is not love. Because if you're allowing somebody to hurt you, you're allowing yourself to be hurt, but you're allowing them to increase karma and debt, and that hurts them because they can't do anything to you that they're not doing to themselves. So we don't allow people to hurt us, and that's a principle of Aikido. We also protect them from hurting us. We protect them and we keep them from hurting themselves. We don't hurt them. We use the force that's necessary, that is required to end violence. Okay. If you want more information on that topic, please state it in the comments. 4, thank you. Why are we thanking them for this lesson? We are thanking them because they have given us the opportunity to look inside ourselves, to see our inner state. Now, if somebody is doing something to us, let's say it's violent, then it doesn't necessarily mean that we are violent. That's not necessarily the meaning. However, could be. There are situations where that's the shadow part of ourselves, and we're familiar with violence or domestic violence or abuse or things like that. So somebody in the relationship, the situation's got to act it out for me to feel, oh, I know this situation, or I've got this something in here that it's somehow familiar to me. So it's in my shadow. It could be in my subconscious. It may have happened when I was a baby. I don't remember. Actually, it happened to me. Things like that happened, that happened that I didn't remember, but it came out later. And I realized there was an aggressive streak in me. And I'm not saying to get rid of it necessarily. It can be aggressive. It can be necessary in survival situations. Another topic, please list it in the comments if you want to hear more about that. So, we're saying thank you for this opportunity to say, oh, you've shown me something in my subconscious that I didn't know was there, and a lesson, or you've given me a lesson for my own growth. Thank you. That's what you're saying thank you for. Because they are our teachers. Some of the most heinous people in the world, that in our opinion, are the greatest teachers because they've put someone to task. They've played a role that made us look deep within ourselves to grow. And isn't that why we're here? So again, there's lots of directions this video can take, the conversation can take. If you found something that triggered you, go ahead and tell me. There's lots of triggering stuff here, and there's lots of triggering things to talk about. But if you really want out, if you really want to get through the pain, the suffering, the only way out is through. I hate to tell you that. There is not an escape hatch. You can put it off. You can bypass, spiritually bypass. You can use substances. You can distract yourself with work and busyness. But eventually, it'll be time for the lesson. You can delay it, but you can't put it off forever. So anyway, I'd love to discuss some of these things more with you. And relationships are challenging for a reason. They're not necessarily here for your comfort. However, they can be beautiful, and the more we clear out the subconscious shadows, which we're not getting rid of things, we are acknowledging them. We are actually integrating them, as Carl Jung talks about. Anyway, to have a great life, start by having a great day. And a great day isn't that it could be you crying all day. Such is life.